Hey folks, it's Luke Ienn, and welcome to Inside the Void. This is a game that I found on itch, within the science fiction section, by 3D Methods, and it really caught my eye for a couple reasons. For one, I'm just a sucker for large, obtuse geometric shapes like this one right here in the screen, but beyond just that, I was reading a little bit about the description, and one of the little like sizzle reel quotes, I suppose, that those quotes from the reviewers that give it a good sounding a little sound bite, so to say, describe this game as being mysteriously spooky, or sorry, spookier than expected. And you know me, I love my spooky things, so I'm curious to see just how spooky Inside the Void can really be. So let's dive in. Incoming message. Commander. Hang on, let me put on my commander voice. We have sighted alien structures on a remote planet. No, I don't like that. Never mind. We have sighted alien structures on a remote planet. Several of our observation craft have been sent to investigate the structures, but all communication with the crew has been lost. We need you to investigate the planet and search for our lost operatives. We have relayed the coordinates directly to your craft. Good luck. Okay, I'm done goofing off. Ooh. Cool ship. Cool. Whoa, what's that? What's that? This place is interesting. There's a lot of strange alien structures here for sure. I guess I'm... Ooh. Sorry, my ship was a lot larger than I expected it to be. Here we go. Jeez. Look at this landscape. I couldn't even say for sure what this is supposed to be. The low poly art style, it kind of makes it seem like the planet is made of crystal. But it could just simply be the low amount of textures and the art style. I don't know. Do you think it's merely meant to be an abstract representation of a regular planet, or maybe this is meant to be taken more literally? Wow, and off in the distance we've got a large sun, maybe, and a moon around this planet. Or maybe the large object is actually like a gas giant, and this planet too is merely a moon orbiting that one, with the smaller moon just happening to pass by us right now. I don't think it's possible for moons to have moons. Like, that would be cool, but I'm pretty sure that the gravity of the larger celestial body ends up overriding any, like, satellites around that object to have a satellite of its own. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Whoa, hang on. The banding of the gradient on the ground is really cool looking. A little trippy, but I like that. I don't know. What's this? Oh, an entry log. Entry log 1. We have discovered numerous alien structures on this planet. We will begin to conduct experiments to determine their operation and origin. I mean, all in the name of science, I suppose, but I don't know, there's something awfully imposing about these things. Are you sure that was a good idea? I am here on a rescue mission for you, I'm guessing. Yeah, this must have been left behind by the previous crew. Did these things lead to their ultimate downfall? Entry log 2. We initially thought that the structures were completely inoperative, and after being transported inside one, we discovered something fascinating. The structures contain a nearly endless void. What? The purpose and function of the void remains a mystery. There's a void inside of there, you say. That's, creepy. What kind of void are we talking about? How do I get inside of it? Do I want to go inside of it? Well, I suppose that's the game, isn't it? Inside the void, right? Oh god, what was, That made me... That startled... That's... I did not expect quite that, honestly. And I did not expect quite this. What am I looking at? These large, imposing structures, all curving inward toward the center. A nearly endless void. How... Oh, there's a run button. How far does this go? How far can I take this? If this is a nearly endless void, how far is this game really gonna go? Really gonna let me go? Oh. I think I hit a wall. I bet you're wondering how I could tell, but, the objects to my side and above me, they don't seem to be getting any further away. Yeah, there's a wall there. Okay, not functionally endless, thematically endless. Keep it in your brain, endless, in quotation marks. I think I see some of those entry logs through the strange transparent pillars, arches? I don't know, would they curve like an arch, but they don't connect like an arch. Honestly, it reminds me of, what's it called? Nuclear semiotics. Long-term nuclear, warning messages. Yeah. I'm wondering if that's what's going on here. Entry log 3. We have attempted to relay our findings back to Command HQ, but the structures seem to be blocking our signal. That's no good. God, this place is spooky, but it's also breathtaking in a way. Wow, a gap in the ceiling, creating this striking magenta line right through the sky. It's weird because it's kind of hard to tell just how far away the ceiling is. The shape of these weird curved pillars, arches, I still don't know. They really make it feel as if the sky could be so high up there, but also incredibly close. Are these perhaps supporting? Yeah, it does kind of seem like they're connected to that ceiling a bit. Yeah, if that's the case, then it almost makes it seem as if these things are bending under the weight of this colossal ceiling above them. And this is all there is to support it. That's wild. Entry log 4. We have identified that each void contains a center core. Reaching the core could provide answers into the purpose of the void. That's true. But I don't know. I'm thinking about what I just said about nuclear semiotics. I don't know if that's what's going on here, but if I came across something like this off on a distant planet and I felt the imposing atmosphere as such, I would probably turn tail and leave it alone. Are you sure it's a good idea to try to access these things? What the? Okay, I got wormed. I got wormed. What? It's gone. Huh? I mean, I guess I'm done there, but I don't know, I didn't expect it to just vanish. Where to now, then? I see a couple of other structures floating off in the distance. Also, what is this? These things here stand out in the environment immensely. They almost appear to be... Well, I have a couple thoughts. They could either be large crystalline growths that have sprung up from under the surface. Can I climb this? Yeah, pretty easily actually. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, they could either be large crystalline growths, natural, or there's something about them that almost look like large slugs that collapsed and melted into the landscape. Okay, I've got a little bit of a better view up here. I can see that big turning gear-like structure over there. There appears to be a large cloud of pyramids rotating in the distance. It's kind of obscured, but it looks like a spinning ring of spikes. There's something... Oh, hi, hello. Large rotating pyramid with a bunch of spikes sticking out the bottom of it. Something over there, I'm not quite sure what to make of it. Kind of looks like a hair roller. Oh, I didn't even notice. Between these two large, mountains? Spikes? I don't know what to call that. There appears to be a pyramid rotating. I don't know where to start. Well, I guess this one is the most obviously in the center, so I'll go check out the big rotating gear. So the previous landing crew, the expedition that came here beforehand, they came to this planet and started investigating these structures. I don't know if that was a good idea or not, especially since they're still missing. Maybe they entered one of these voids and got stuck inside? Oh, the closer we get to that thing, the more uncomfortable I am looking at it. Imagine you're just walking through the landscape and you came across this thing. This large spinning series of rectangles. From a distance, it does look like a gear, or maybe a spinning tire, or maybe a grinder used to grind up bones and meat. But once you get closer, you realize it's hardly even a single structure, just many parts all operating in mysterious unison. Is there another log? Ah, there is a log. Let's see what it says. Okay, that thing's radius was a little stronger. What the hell? Whoa. Oh, God. Huh. This is one hell of a location. It's amazing how claustrophobic this room feels, despite being able to tell that these large spinning gears are probably thousands of meters above me. They're enormous, they're huge, but because of the way that they're framed and the transparent floor isn't helping, I can't help but feel like I'm being shoved into machinery in here with little room to breathe. It's a very imposing atmosphere. Oh, hi, there we go. What do you have to say? Entry log 5. Our attempts to reach the core have been unsuccessful. The void seems to contain an auto-defense mechanism that instantly transports us out and conceals the structure for a period of time. We may need to conduct material tests to see if we can circumvent the defense mechanism. Was that what kicked me out before? The weird worm? Spiky eyeball worm? Oh, these structures here are the real mysterious thing. Moving back and forth. Unsure if they're just going to come down and destroy me at any moment. Left or right? Let's go left. Oh, found a door already. Whoa. It is so disorienting being in here, but I love it. I actually really like this place now. It started off kind of freaking me out a bit, but the more time I spend here, the more I'm just digging the look of it. What's this say? Entry log 6. Our material tests have revealed something quite interesting. The structures have survived some sort of intense blast. What? Whatever the blast was, the void inside the structures were completely unaffected. We are still working on finding a way to circumvent the core defense mechanism. Oh, there's the core. Oh, wow. Oh, the colors. The colors and the shapes. Oh, it's all working together in perfect unison. I love it. It's so good looking. Oh, God. It's also scary as hell. But, oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. Well, they weren't able to get into this thing, so what the? Oh, okay. Yep, definitely doesn't like having me in there. Oh, right, I can read this now. But, okay, so hang on. A large blast. They were meant to survive some sort of disaster, something that would have wiped out life on this planet, or any amount of structures. You know, I'm starting to think more about this weird location. This surface, it really does seem like it's made of glass or diamond, which isn't that far-fetched. There is a planet famously known for being made of solid diamond. There's also a planet famously known for raining glass sideways. But this place really does feel as if it's just been melted and then hardened. If that blast that they were talking about was enough to completely engulf this planet, do you think that this is all that's left over? A smooth, hard surface polished by the wind and sun that was completely just melted over until it became this. Oh, that's terrifying to think of. Now I wonder what these could have been. Perhaps when this planet was affected by the blast, these might have been something before, a lot more recognizable, like maybe a building or even like trees or something. But then it got broken down into its composite parts and ended up forming something like that. Not sure what to make of the weird hair follicle-like mountains. Maybe they were mountains at one point, but they too got melted down and all that's left is their fragile core. I don't know. I feel like that might be getting a little too much into geology science fiction there, so I don't have expertise on geology in that way. Entry log 7. We have managed to identify the cause of the blast. Okay. I'm gonna get answers now. The materials that we have researched have been traced to an area of space that has succumbed to the might of a supernova. Oh, wow. So the planet was glassed over. A supernova came and completely wiped it out. And all that was left were those structures. That was all that survived. Oh, wow. That's spooky. What could the purpose of these structures have been? Were they shelters? I mean, nearly endless voids inside of them, so there must have been some intent to use them to safeguard against the blast. But so far, the only things that we've seen inside of these places have just been structures and machinery, as well as self-defense mechanisms, I suppose. I don't know. Do you think perhaps this planet and its people were able to find some sort of way to live on past the might of a supernova? Because so far, I have no indication as to what these machines are for. Look at that. A weird swarm of pyramids floating around, poking in between these large hair follicle-like structures. Well, follicle is not quite the right term. The follicle is the root where it sprouts from, so these would merely just be the hair shaft. It's weird to think of a planet having hair. Oh, these got real big the closer I got to them. Jeez. Am I gonna be able to get to this first, or is it gonna stop me again? Oh, I can get to it. Log 8. We have finally been able to breach the core defense mechanism. Oh. What we found was remarkable. A network filled with vast quantities of data unlike anything we've seen before. Data. Perhaps the last remnants of the civilization that constructed these? What sort of things could be stored in there? Maybe like a compendium of like all the species and plant life that lived on this planet before it was destroyed, like some sort of ark. Or perhaps it's almost a little more, maybe it's something kind of like from Soma, where humanity, or well, this alien species decides that it tries to find a way to live on beyond its existing lifespan, perhaps as digital data? I don't know. So far, this game has been really good about making me ask questions and then giving me an answer to the exact question I had the moment I asked it. I wonder if that's gonna continue. Ugh. Whoa, okay, this is weird. Whoa! Did you see that? There's like a snake. Should I be here? I'm very concerned about that snake that popped up down there. Oh, this location though is definitely... This game has a pretty simple aesthetic, and I don't want to just go in and say Tron aesthetic for each and every little thing, but there is a distinct Tron aesthetic to this room in particular, this void. Reminds me a lot of the solar sail that they rode in the first film, like flying above the empty digital sea beneath them on a rail. Well, we have an entry log. Entry log 9. We are now working to uncover what is contained in the core's data. We are being especially cautious now that we've breached the core. Oh god. Were they taken out by the self-defense mechanism? Previously, it was only content with kicking them out, but if they tampered too much, would it end up deciding to eliminate them? I don't know. Oh, weird. I seem to be on a very narrow pathway here. Yeah, I could actually, well, I mean, I can't, not literally, but this flooring, if I was not careful, I could fall off into that deep digital void below us. This area is also fascinating. Like, these large spinning triangles, not to continue making the computer imagery connection, but they almost feel like they could be some sort of like this is a server center, you know? Like each pyramid being a receptacle for digital data and kept in a large array. They did mention that these voids seem to store data. Oh, entry log 10. We've made another miraculous discovery. The data contains life. Oh, shoot. An entire civilization has been preserved inside each structure. It may be possible to convert the data into physical form. Well, damn. So it is like a Soma situation, but the aftermath. We're no longer looking at the questions of, would you still be yourself if you made a copy of yourself? That's an interesting philosophical debate, but it's kind of been done to death at this point. This one seems to be asking a more interesting question about if you and everyone that you loved and the people that you were born with were stored into a digital machine, who would find it? And if they did find it, what would happen? Bye. There goes the floor. Oh, there goes me. Now, yeah, that's fascinating. But why these weird structures? Like, they're incredibly imposing. They're very spooky. I wonder if that was by design. I keep thinking back to nuclear semiotics. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the concept, the idea was that in the far future... Okay, no, let me backtrack slightly. Nuclear waste is bad. Nuclear waste will remain dangerous and deadly for eons. It will outlive all of us, and it will remain that way for far too long. And so a bunch of people realized this problem and founded the concept of nuclear semiotics. Semiotics itself is the communication of using symbols, and they hoped to use this semiotic system to be able to convey warnings of danger to people in the far future, long after our civilization may fall apart, or the teachings about nuclear struggle and danger have been lost in our society and people would be no longer aware of it. How do you counteract something like that? The idea was that they would use large imposing structures or alarming enough imagery in order to convey that the place that they were standing in was not someplace that they should be. You might have seen a meme passed around online of people quoting something saying along the lines, "This place is not a place of honor," which is a line taken from a document, well, not a document, it's taken from a text that was meant to be used for like a plaque or some sort of sign, a warning that would be conveyed in every single language possible, every single like symbology possible, and include as many things nearby it that would hint as to what makes this place dangerous and why you should stay away. But yeah, long-term nuclear warning messages, as they're known. And I can't help but feel like these structures, they're frightening on purpose. They want to scare you away. So, if the civilization put itself inside of these structures, what purpose would they have to make them so terrifying? Yeah, like, maybe... Do they want to be saved, is what I'm curious about. Ugh. Okay. Oh, now this definitely makes me think of the Field of Thorns. Oh, yeah, no, this is definitely 100% playing off of the idea of nuclear semiotics. What was that? What was that? Oh! There was something out there. It looked like a large spinning spiky caterpillar or centipede. It went by so quickly I couldn't really make it out. There's things in these voids. I don't like that. What am I seeing? What is that, the defense mechanism? Wow, this is a really, really imposing environment. I keep saying that, but it's true. Yeah. This is like the Field of Thorns, one of the proposed ideas for structures that would be built over nuclear waste dump sites that would indicate that this might be too frightening of a place to be in. They wanted to create locations that would generate such unease that they would end up being seen as cursed locations. And while that kind of embraces a distinct non-scientific thought, this whole system was put in place, well, unfortunately, actually, a lot of nuclear semiotics didn't really end up getting used, so stuff like imposing architecture and such would not be... You can't find that out there. It doesn't exist. It's all in theory. But the Field of Thorns was one of such concepts, and it would have a large series of spiky structures jutting out from the landscape to indicate that something about this place was unnatural. And because scientists wouldn't be able to determine if the people in the future would know enough about science to understand anything about nuclear waste, I suppose falling back on good old-fashioned mysticism is probably the best thing that they could do. Play into people's innate, intrinsic fear in order to keep them safe. Alright, let's read you. Entry Log 11. We believe that the structures were originally intended to protect civilizations from a supernova. Okay. That seems about right. So, if each structure holds a civilization, it's probably not just this planet. It might also be every other planet in this solar system that wanted to be protected. That it must have been some sort of group effort in order to protect everyone together. I'm still keeping my eye out for the large spiky thing. I don't see it. Other than that, I don't see the creature. If I can even call it a creature. What's this say? Oh no. Entry Log 12. Something went terribly wrong. Our attempts to convert the data into physical form has somehow caused the data to be corrupted. Oh no. Oh no. What did they do? What happened to the data? Is it safe? That's a whole civilization that you just corrupted because you tried to convert a video file into a text file. What were you thinking? Oh no. Alright, let's head to the core. We need more answers. Need to get out of here. Okay. That one was kind of silly. It came swinging down on me like some sort of spiked mallet. I don't think I read this one yet. No, it's still spinning. Entry Log 13. Since the data corruption, strange things have started happening. We've had sightings of malformed entities throughout the voids. Would that be like the worm and that snake I saw and the spiky thing I saw between the thorns? I'm not so sure anymore. Yeah, like, were those the defense mechanisms as I originally thought? No, because when I got too close to that pillar when I got too close to the core in the last area just now, it came swinging down on me as if it itself was the defense mechanism. But I didn't see that other thing there. I'm kind of stuck. There we go. Yeah, I didn't see anything else. Okay. Well, my next goal is the large, I can't really call it a pyramid because it kind of bevels, slightly more up the top. But who could say, I guess it's kind of a pyramid. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to refer to it as a pyramid. I can't even really see it anymore. The hill is in the way now. So they tried to access the alien database. And by doing so, they corrupted the data. Just as I said, it's like trying to convert a video into a text file. How could they believe that they could take that data and properly compile it using our own technology? That seems foolish. That seems conceited. It seems almost as if we shouldn't have even bothered. We don't know if these people need saving, if they need help. They might be fine as is. Why would we come in and interfere other than to satisfy our own curiosity? That's frightening to think of. Imagine if humanity did actually create something like Out of Soma, in which we store our mind into a large database to keep our lives going. But could we be certain that any alien species that came across the remains of our civilization in the future would handle that database carefully? If they found it, would they know what it is? They would just find a machine running. We could try to put up as many warnings as we wanted, as many imposing structures as we wanted. We could try our best to use semiotics to our advantage, but there'd be no way for us to know for certain. Like, the very thought of such a thing is horrible to me. Really, though, we would have no way to protect ourselves. All we could hope is that the messages we left behind were universal enough to be understood. I have a feeling that's what's happening here. This alien civilization knew that if it went through with its plan to convert themselves into data, that would be it. They would not be able to do anything else in the outside world again. This one's spooky. This one's really spooky. This one is very, very spooky. I just have the distinct impression that it's going to come crashing down on my head if I get underneath it. Oh, yep, there we go. Going in. Okay, this is 100% nuclear semiotics at this point. This is spikes bursting through grid. Yeah, this is definite. That's definitely what this game. Oh, I can't walk through that. Huh. That's what this game is going for. Wow, look at this. Gigantic spikes jutting out in all directions, and a field of glass. It's hard to walk through. It's not that my game is lagging. This stuff is actually slowing me down. I can try to run, and then I walk the same speed I would normally, but it's definitely impairing my movement. You know, I haven't seen any other creatures in a moment. I feel like I could have missed it. They seem to appear for a flash and then disappear. Many of the corrupted entities that we have encountered are hostile. We have suffered mass casualties. We are evacuating all personnel from the planet. Yeah, you probably should have done that from the start. What led you to believe that you had the right to interfere in this? Oh, God. Sorry, this place is just very, very intense. Oh, There's the core. It's eerily silent here. Something could come out and jump at me at any moment from behind one of these spikes. Our attempts to leave the planet have been thwarted. Oh god. One of our craft has been shot down by a new structure that appeared in the sky. What? We are evaluating our options. So they came in, messed everything up, and then tried to leave. No wonder some sort of self-defense mechanism came in and tried to take them out. Some foolish alien species came over, messed up the code that stored the remainder of a civilization, and then they think they can just leave? Of course this civilization set up some sort of machine that could destroy them for their meddling. I'm not surprised in the slightest. Humans would do the same. Humans would probably do the same. Enable some sort of machine that could take out anyone who wanted to destroy our legacy in the future, either purposefully or just happen to do it on accident. Alright, you're gonna come and squish me, I know it. I'm just gonna walk right underneath you and— Oh! Well, I was right in which I got stabbed by spikes, but they were not the spikes that I expected. Okay, there's this log here. There are only a few of us left now. There may be a way to enter the sky structure and disable it. If it's anything like the other structures, we can be transported inside. This may be my final entry. Jeez. Well, it's not my final journey. I still have, I think, like 2 or 3 structures left to go into. Let's get a higher look up. Is that large glowing blue sphere the sky structure they were talking about? It does seem awfully close. Like, too close to be a moon orbiting the large red thing, planet, maybe sun. Seems a little too close to be a sun. I don't think it's a sun. I think it's like a gas giant or something. The gradient in its surface also kind of makes me think it's not a sun. Well, there's what I thought was a hair roller earlier, though upon approach, I can't really use the same description anymore. It's something else entirely. Oh, the music here is... It's been a really interesting soundscape. Kind of reminds me of the... like, the song that plays for Aegon Wastes in Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. It's very similar to that. Oh, God. The closer you get to these things, the more and more imposing they become. I'm just looking at this on a screen, but I'm trying to imagine just how big something like this would be in real life. It would be huge. It would be at least like 15 stories tall or more. Huh. There's no entry log down here. Do you think if I had approached these in any order that I wished, I mean, I kind of did that already, but if I had approached these in a different order, do you think an entry log would have appeared underneath this? And then once I read up to entry log 16, it would have deleted any others remaining? Or, because I thought it was a little weird how I was going in a clockwise order, but it was keeping the progression of my entry logs in normal order, as if I was following the exact same path that the previous expedition team had taken. But I don't know. I think it's possible that it just follows from log 1 to 16 normally, and then once I've read 16 of them, the others might disappear. That way you can approach these in whichever order you like. That's my guess, at least. Oh god, watching this thing spinning is just, it's spooky. Alright, take me in. Oh god. This place is different. It's like yeah, this place is very different. The other places were so much more open and spacious, but this place feels so cramped, but no less infinite than the other locations. What's this way? Oh, I'm really slow here, too. What was that? There's more things in here. That looked like a big spiky ball. Oh, I don't like this. Also, I'm out of entry logs, so I don't have anything to guide me through this labyrinth. Not really a labyrinth, but one could become lost in one as such. Oh, underneath us are just thousands of cubes. While we have a very high ceiling. There's the core. Okay. I do want to take a little bit of time to really look around in here. Also, what the... I can just walk through this stuff. It might be a glitch, but it might not be. It's really strange that I can just kind of break through the boundary of this location. Alright. What horrible way am I going to get kicked out of this location, do you think? Think the walls are gonna all come closing in on me, suddenly become solid when they weren't just a moment ago? Oh, look at that. One singular pillar rises up from below to support the core in the middle. You know, I want to see if I can kind of... Here, just give me a second. I want to get as close as I can to the edge. And I want to see if perhaps there might be another invisible wall that prevents me from exiting this location. Or maybe I can actually get a glimpse from the outside at what this looks like. Probably just a series of boxes, but I don't know. I want to take a look. Oh no, I hit a wall. Okay, I'm trapped in here. Alright. Worth taking a look anyway. Yeah, that last area, it felt like a server array, but this feels even more like a server room. Just rows and rows and rows of data storage units running endlessly. You know, that makes me wonder, do you think it's cold or hot in here? Since it's a void, I suppose any heat generated by such machinery could be expelled off into nothingness. I don't know. Alright, let's do this. How are you gonna kill me this time? Well, not kill me, but... Hello? Oh! No! Oh god, no, 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 no! Okay. Well, that was interesting, because I thought that those spike things were going to be the corrupted entities, but it seems like those were, once again, the defense mechanism. Maybe the corrupted entities were merely the defense mechanisms becoming warped by the interference. They were originally not as hostile, merely there to kick you out, but upon being corrupted, perhaps their programming ended up becoming completely warped? I'm not sure. They make mention of those corrupted entities, and I just don't know. I'm still thinking about that snake I saw. That was a real standout one, because the way that I got kicked out of that void was the floor dropping out from underneath my feet. But I didn't see that snake again. Amongst all of the structures here, there's one giant pyramid. It's also the largest of all the structures. It's huge. But somehow it's the most recognizable, despite still being fairly abstract. Alright. How close do I have to get to you in order to get inside? Pretty close. Pretty close. There we go. Wow. This might be the most void-like void we've seen. There's these large, transparent, and intangible pyramids. Oh, wow. These places feel so much lonelier without a couple of data logs to help me make some sense of the place. All I have are endless neon vistas in all directions, interspersed with these large, almost, well, yeah, like, these pyramids definitely appear to be digital and ghostly, haunting. Well, with nothing to read and nothing to find, all we can do is head to the presumed core, the pyramid off in the distance and below the surface. Oh, very aesthetically pleasing place though. I love the use of color in this game. It's been really, really good. Like, not only do I love, like, I'm weak for geometric shapes used in an abstract and obtuse manner, but I'm also a fan of bright neon colors, like it's some sort of Miami poster from the 80s, if you get what I mean. You know what I mean? Yeah, that sort of aesthetic. That Arizona tea can aesthetic almost. Not even quite. Arizona tea doesn't always look like that. Big pyramid. How's this gonna go, do you think? Oh! Illuminati confirmed. Oh, it's nighttime. Oh, there's the structure. The one that shot them down. Oh, this place is so different at night. It almost seemed kind of warm before. Like, no breeze, no humidity, just perfect nothingness all around. But now that the lights have gone out, this place is cold. Look at that. What are these lights coming up from the surface? Is this machine perhaps collecting the data from the other machines? If it is, what could it possibly be hoping to do with it? Is it just taking all of the data and moving it into a single safe location in order to make sure that it avoids any further corruption? Yeah, that's definitely a gas giant of some sort. If that was the sun, the sky wouldn't be dark now, with that still being visible. At least I don't think. Who could say? The rules of this planet are still somewhat mysterious. Well, there's no other structures, and the sky has gone dark, indicating to me that I've probably seen them all. In the entry log, the previous exploration crew, they said that they were going to try to fly up to that structure and see if there was a way inside. I suppose that's my only option as well. Well, let's climb the stairs, if I can call them such. It is funny how this ramp is the same slope incline as its surrounding part, but it really wants you to climb up the designated path. Doesn't matter if it's as steep as the rest of the structure. This here is the path. Okay. Enough goofing off. Back to being serious. into my cool little spaceship chair, I guess. We did come here to look for the missing party, and if they went inside of this if they went inside of this structure, what in the world? There's some sort of DNA looking structure off in the distance. Our ship, oh, another ship. Our ship is trapped here like this ship. Whoa! I suppose that makes sense to an extent. Entry log 17. We've managed to enter the sky structure safely, but it seems our ships have been caught in some sort of stasis field. Oh, like in The Expanse. If you've seen The Expanse or read The Expanse, you probably know what I'm talking about when I say that. Our craft have automatically activated their emergency transport beams to help us down. We have not encountered any hostile actions against us since being transported inside of the sky structure. Well, that's a relief. Oh, what the hell? God, what is that? What is that? Another log. Entry log 18. This structure is much different than the other structures. We have detected huge quantities of processing components. It is apparent that this structure acts as the main processor while the other structures only contain data. The tower here may contain further information regarding the purpose of the structure. I really don't think that they should be... Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, the floor is still moving. That was a little nauseating on approach. You see this thing, and you think to yourself, yeah, whatever's in that is probably worth finding out. No. Like... Really, what did you hope to learn in a place like this? Everything about all of these voids has screamed nothing but stay away. Get out and never come back. But these foolish explorers just kept pushing onward. Entry log 19. After investigating the tower, we have discovered that this structure is operating a simulated universe. Okay, so it is like Soma, but this really is like the aftermath of Soma. The simulation most likely houses the preserved civilization data we encountered in the other structures. We believe it's possible to open a gateway to the simulated universe. Don't do that. We originally intended to disable the sky structure, but now we have the opportunity to repair the damage we caused. It's a good thing that they didn't, because they would have ended all their lives. Oh my god, these explorers are maddening. I am getting very frustrated with them. Don't interfere with what you can't understand. If it's operating normally and at no harm to yourself, just leave it be. Just leave it be. It's not a weapon. It's not... Like, you found out what it is. You found out that there's a universe inside of it. Congratulations. Why do you keep digging? The more you interfere, the worse it's going to get for you and the people who have stored their lives into this machine. This is not a good idea. Entry log 20. We have managed to construct a gateway to the simulated universe. Well, congratulations. We were able to free one of our craft from the stasis fields. We will attempt to pilot it through the gateway. Well, I unfortunately don't have the luxury of doing so, so I'm just gonna have to ride the elevator. Oh god. Into the simulated reality we go. Assuming that going in, we could even get out. Oh god, not there quite yet. I have a guess this large spinning blue marble is probably the portal, but look around us. Each of the structures that we explored before is now here on display. Probably here to indicate that the data from all of them, actually, how many were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each of the 7 structures is probably transmitting its data to this machine, and it's indicating that it has a connection with all of them. That's my guess. But yeah, not only do you interfere with this simulated reality, then you... No, let's start over. First you find these weird imposing structures which scream with every single inch of their being, "Don't touch us," and you touch them anyway. On top of that, you end up going in, causing an obvious problem, and then you just continue to meddle. You just keep making it worse. And now you want to go inside of this simulated reality, not even knowing what to expect on the other side. There has to be a limit. There has to be a moment in which you say no more. I mean, also, just think of the people stuck in the place. Like, do you think they want someone just waltzing in and interfering in this world that they created for themselves, just appearing out of nowhere? That's terrifying to me. Like, oh god, and now we're about to do the same, because we have to go collect these dinguses. We were sent here to find out what happened to them, and hopefully bring them back home to safety. Oh god, okay. Here we go. Whoa, okay. There's a ship. What is that? Like a star, maybe? I don't know. Planets. I can see stars off in the distance. I don't know what's up with this weird ceiling. It's very surreal. It seems impossibly high up. Oh god. I don't... Okay, I can't fall off. That's good. Yeah, there's a planet with a moon orbiting it. We're in the simulation. Ah, entry log. Entry log 21. We have successfully traversed through the gateway. This universe is astounding and completely alien to us. As much as we would like to explore it, the longer we stay, the more problematic it may be for us to return home. Yeah, no kidding. And I let myself get dragged in with the rest of you. Ugh. Can't believe it. Another entry log. Still no sign of any people. How do I know that they're even still alive? Entry log 22. We have repaired all of the corrupted damage. Oh, you did. That's good to know, I suppose. I guess in a way you might have recognized the harm that you had nearly brought these people, and it seems that in doing so it might have been good. I'm glad that it turned out that way for the people that are living in this simulated universe, but if we had never come here to begin with, if we had never interfered to start with, then none of this would have happened. This mess would have just not have been a mess at all. It says here, though, there are some residual effects that should subside with time. Well, that's a relief. But what kind of residual effects are you talking about? Our mission here is complete, but the gateway we opened has suddenly been closed. Yeah, I can expect. We are working on an experimental device that will open a portal home, but the results may be unpredictable. We are utilizing some of the technology we encountered in the sky structure for the creation of the portal device. You idiots! You absolute bonkers doofuses! I cannot believe that... Ugh! Once again, It's like, stop trying to use technology you don't understand. What's in there? Is that the portal device? It looks like it, maybe. Their bodies are out there. Oh no. It killed them. Oh, for fuck's sake. They let themselves get killed by interfering with things they shouldn't have, and now they're just sitting out there drifting in space. Actually, wait a minute. They're kind of moving? Are they still alive? Oh my god, they're still alive. Crew, I can't believe it. We were wondering if anyone would ever find us. The portal device is highly unstable and caused a blast that sent us flying into space. We are lucky you showed up when you did. If you decrease the power output of the device and activate it again, it should be enough to transport all of us out of here. You've done well, Operative. We'll see you on the other side. Assuming that this works. Alright. Well, came this far and I'm not gonna give up on my mission yet. You decrease the power output and activate the device. It springs to life with an electrical surge of energy surrounding it. Bolts of electricity begin to shoot across the ship. Whoa! Whoa! I hope that worked. I hope that's right. Where are we now? Where is this? Commander, this is Operative 1286. I've found them. Oh, I guess this is home. Strange home. Developed by Jacob A. Medina. Music designed with drone effects. Thanks for playing. 3D methods. Like, I understand now that little sizzle quote on the store page. Spookier than expected. It really was. The idea of leaving your legacy in the hands of machinery that will supposedly keep you going forever, even if the technology is foolproof, you can't account for outside meddling. And even still, I can't say for sure if their technology was foolproof. The meddling from a species that didn't understand but discovered your remnants, they ended up nearly destroying everything that you hoped to keep as safe as possible. Just one file incompatibility, just plugging in the wrong device into the wrong port, and it could wipe out your entire civilization's records over for end of time. That's scary. To think that this civilization could have been wiped out a second time by just someone not understanding what they were doing. It makes me think more about nuclear semiotics. That's just kind of been my whole thought this entire game. Long-term nuclear waste warning messages. The fact that we can't be certain if the people in our future will know any better, if they can understand what our messages we left behind mean to them. The most we can do is try to create something so frightening that it would hopefully scare away any would-be explorers or investigators, just for the sake of hopefully protecting them from themselves. In this case, these civilizations wanted to protect themselves from anyone who wouldn't understand. But the warnings fell on deaf ears, and these god-darn crew, this god-darn exploration team just kept meddling, kept going in and messing everything up. Consider this game a warning and a message. There's a lot to think about from this. I couldn't say for sure exactly what the message is or what the warning might be, but there's definitely a lesson to be had from this game. A lesson that perhaps some things are better off left untouched, no matter what you think you might discover from them. Well, that marks the end of Inside the Void. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this unique philosophical experience. It really gave me a lot to think about. In the meantime, I hope you take care, and until I see you later, well, I just hope it's a good time for you. So, goodbye. See ya.